session, we are going to discuss some more questions on NTA UGC NET Paper 1. Verbal guidance is least effective in the learning of options A. Aptitudes, options B. Skills, option C. Attitudes, option D. Relationship. The answer is option B. Skills. Which is the most important aspect of the teacher's role in learning? Options A. The learning of insight into what constitutes an adequate performance. Options B. The development of insight into what constitute the pitfall and ranges to be avoided. Option C. The provision of encouragement and moral support. Option D. The provision of continuous diagnostic and remedial help. The answer is option A. The development of insight into what constitutes an adequate performance is the most important aspect of the teacher's role in learning. The most appropriate purpose of learning is option A. Personal adjustment, option B. Modification of behavior, option C. Social and political awareness, option D. Preparing oneself for employment. The answer is option B. Modification of behavior. It's the most appropriate purpose of learning. The students who keep on asking questions in the class should be options A. Encouraged to find answer independently, options B. Advised to meet the teachers after the class, option C. Encouraged to continue questioning, option D. Advised not to disturb during the lecturing. The answer is option A. Encouraged to find answer independently. Maximum participation of students is possible in teaching through options A. Discussion method, option B. Lecture method, option C. Audio visual aids, option D. Textbook method. The answer is option A. Discussion method. Generalized conclusion on the basis of a sample is technically known as option A. Data analysis and interpretation, option B. Parameter inference, option C. Statistical inference, option D. All of the above. The answer is option A. Data analysis and interpretation. Generalized conclusion on the basis of a sample is technically known as data analysis and interpretation. The experimental study is based on the option A. The manipulation of variables, option B. The conceptual parameters, option C. Replication of research, option D. Survey of literature. The answer is option A. Manipulation of variables. The experimental study is based on the manipulation of variables. The main characteristics of scientific research is option A. Empirical, option B. Theoretical, option C. Experimental, option D. All of the above. The answer is option D. All of the above. Authenticity of a research finding is such: option A. Originality, option B. Validity, option C. Objectivity, option D. All of the above. The answer is option C. Objectivity. Objectivity is the authenticity of a research finding. Which technique is generally followed when the population is finite? Option A. Area sampling technique, option B. Purposive sampling technique, option C. Systematic sampling technique, option D. None of the above. The answer is option C. Systematic sampling technique is generally followed when the population is finite. Section 2. The teacher has been glorified by the phrase friend, philosopher and guide because option A. He has to play all vital roles in the context of society, option B. He transmits the high value of humanity to students, option C. He is a great reformer of the society, option D. He is a great patriot. The answer is option B. He transmits the high value of humanity to students. The most important cause of failure for teacher lies in the area of option A. Interpersonal relationship, option B. Lack of command over the knowledge of the subject, option C. Verbal ability, option D. Strict handling of students. The answer is option B. Lack of command over the knowledge of the subject is the most important cause of failure for a teacher. A teacher can establish rapport with his students by option A becoming a figure of authority, option B impressing students with knowledge and skill, option C playing the role of a guide, option D becoming a friend to the students. The answer is option B impressing students with knowledge and skill. Education is a powerful instrument of option A social transformation, option B personal transformation, option C cultural transformation, option D all the above. The answer is option D all the above. A teacher's major contribution towards the maximum self-realization of students is effected through option A constant fulfillment of the student's need, option B strict control of classroom's activities, option C sensitivity to students' needs, goals and purpose, option D strict reinforcement of academic standards. The answer is option C sensitivity to students' needs, goals and purpose. Research problem is selected from the standpoint of option A researcher's interest, option B financial support, option C social relevance, option D availability of relevant literature. The answer is option C social relevance. Research problem is selected from the standpoint of social relevance. Which one is called non-probability sampling? Option A cluster sampling, option B quota sampling, option C systematic sampling, option D stratified random sampling. The answer is option B quota sampling is called non-probability sampling. Formulation of hypothesis may not be required in option A survey method, option B historical studies, option C experimental studies, option D normative studies. The answer is option B historical studies. Formulation of hypothesis may not be required in historical studies. Fieldwork based research is classified as option A empirical, option B historical, option C experimental, option D biographical. The answer is option A empirical. Fieldwork based research is classified as empirical. Which of the following sampling method is appropriate to study the prevalence of AIDS among male and female in India 1976, 86 and 96 and 2006? Options A cluster sampling, option B systematic sampling, option D quota sampling, option D stratified random sampling. The answer is option B systematic sampling. According to Swami Vivekananda, teacher's success depends on option A his renunciation of personal gain and service to others, option B his professional training and creativity, option C his concentration on his work and duties with a spirit of obedience to God, option D his mastery on the subject and capacity in controlling the students. The answer is option A his renunciation of personal gain and service to others. Which of the following teacher will be liked most? Option A teacher of high idealistic attitude, option B a loving teacher, option A teacher who is disciplined, option D a teacher who often amuses his students. The answer is option B a loving teacher. A teacher's most important challenge is option A to make the students to do their homework, option B to make teaching learning process enjoyable, option C to maintain disciplines in the classroom, option D to prepare the question paper. The answer is option B to make teaching learning process enjoyable. Value education stands for option A making its students healthy, option B making its students to get a job, option C inculcation of virtues, option D all-round development of a personality. The answer is option C inculcation of virtues is the value education stands for. When a normal students behave in an erratic manner in the class, you would option A pull up the students then and there, option B talk to the students after the class, option C ask the students to leave the class, option D ignore the students. The answer is option B talk to the students after the class. When a normal students behave in an erratic manner in the class, you would option A pull up the students then and there, option B talk to the students after the class, option C ask the students to leave the class, option D ignore the students. The answer is option B. Option B talk to the students after the class. The research is always option A, verifying the old knowledge, option B, exploring new knowledge, option C, filling the gap between knowledge, option D, all of the above. The answer is option D, all of these. The research that applies the laws at the time of field study to draw more and more clear ideas about the problem is option A, applied research, option B, action research, option C, experimental research, option D, none of this. The answer is option C, experimental research. When a research problem is related to heterogeneous population, the most suitable sampling method is option A, cluster sampling, option B, stratified sampling, option C, convenience sampling, option D, lottery method. The answer is option B, stratified sampling. The process not needed in experimental research is option A, observation, option B, manipulation and replication, option C, controlling, option D, reference collection. The answer is option A, observation is not needed in experimental research. A research problem is not feasible only when option A, it is researchable, option B, it is new and adds something to knowledge, option C, it consists of independent and dependent variable, option D, it has utility and relevance. The answer is option C, it consists of independent and dependent variables.